All right, so as you can see, I finally have my drive shaft. And then I got my yoke down here. And what I'm gonna do is get this cleaned up with some steel wool, and then I'm gonna get it painted. I went ahead and got the U-joints out, and I stopped at AutoZone to get Moog part number 248, which is supposed to be a direct fit, perfect fit for a 73 Dodge Dart Swinger with a 904 transmission, and they lied. They do not fit. They are way too big. So if you are replacing your universal joints, do not go with part number 248. They're too big. So at any rate, I'm gonna get this cleaned up and a coat of paint on it because the weather's nice. I got my dash back there. I'm gonna get that sanded down and get it painted. And then we're gonna move on to the brakes. I got my front brake pads. I got all of my rear brake hardware, all new springs, pins, cups, everything. So that's the plan, is to get all that done. I was going to get this installed, but now I got to try to find the right universal joints. And I don't feel like running back into town right now. So I'm just going to get all this done instead. So at any rate, I'll catch up with you in a bit. Well, now I feel like I'm Bob Barker on The Price is Right. I have a little clippy thing that goes to right here so that my microphone stays on here so that y'all can hear me well, and it's gone missing. So like Happy Gilmore said, the price is wrong, Bob. Anyways, here's what we got going on. I took my orbital sander, and I know I should have sandblasted this. I ain't got sandblaster money. I'm on a budget. But here's what I did. I took this little Black & Decker orbital sander and some sandpaper and just got all the bad spots with it. And now what I'm doing is I'm going back over with my steel wool here, and if I see any spot that looks like it needs to be touched up by hand because it's, you know, little crevices and whatnot. Man, I really feel like a game show host right now. What I'll do is I'll just kind of put this in my memory bank, and I'll come back with some sandpaper and touch it up. But as you can see, this is what we got going on so far. I'm making a lot of progress, and the goal is to get this primered and painted and cleared so that it can sit up for a few days while I'm waiting to get the rest of my parts in, because I'm really close. I got an order from Summit in, and the only thing that I have left now is I need to get a trans cooler. Got to get that in, and some new plugs and just little odds and ends things, and then we'll be ready to put this engine back in. But at any rate, I'm sure y'all are sick of looking at me hold this like this, so I'm gonna get back to work on this, and then I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. In case you're wondering, I still have not found the clip for the microphone. Okay, so here's the deal. I got a whole can of self-etching primer on. I use self-etching because I stripped this down. I would say maybe 75-80% of it was down to bare metal. So I like to just use the self-etching because it's got the magic to just really get those molecules to stick. Anyways, so next what we're going to use is some filler primer. And then what that's going to do is it's going to hide a lot of these tiny little scratches and things that I created by using an orbital sander. The majority of them are already hidden, but if you look closely at the right angle, you can still kind of see it. And after a couple coats of this, it's really going to cover all that up really nicely. So the best thing about what I'm doing, as you can see, this is a really nice paint booth that I have. It comes with about a 27 mile an hour wind, coming from the east to the west, which is directly where I'm standing, and that is great. So I'm going to paint in between gusts of wind, and that's going to really make sure that this is a top-notch SEMA quality ride when I get done, So, yeah, at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and start putting on some of this, and then, once I get done with the coat, we'll jump back up, and y'all can see what it looks like. Saved it. All right, so I found my clip. I broke it, so I'm making do with what I got. So here's what we got. I got one right here. I got both of the front calipers on, and that took forever because they're garbage. But anyways, so I stopped and got some cotter pins, something that I was missing last time. So I'm gonna get these in, and then we're gonna get our caps on. And there's a huge debate on people who do this. Some people pack them, some people don't. I'm one of the people that packs them. I think you're an idiot if you don't. However, if you are someone who doesn't pack them, I'm not exactly talking to you. I promise. So, what I like to do is just put a bunch in here. And you ain't got to fill it all the way full. I mean, like most of the way, because if you fill it all the way full, you're going to have a whole bunch come out. But if you leave enough room for your nut and everything, then when you go to put it on, you don't have so much come out. That's really difficult to focus. My wife is doing naughty things off to the side of the camera here. All right. I mean, I dented it a little bit because the metal's super old, and I'm using one of these, but whatever, it's on. A lot of work. So I got to do the other side. And originally I was going to try to get the front brakes done and the rear brakes done today. Well, hopefully that wind doesn't pick up on the audio. If it does, I apologize. But it's already kind of starting to get late in the day, and I still got to clear coat the dash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my yoke into the trans, and I'm going to get it filled full of trans fluid also today. And then tomorrow I'll get the back brakes done. So yeah, that'll be fun. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead and get the other side done and get my dash clear coated, and then once I start clear coating it, I'll start filming again. See you in a bit. Well, get off of there. Okay, hi, welcome back. All right, so here's what we got going on. So I did one entire can, which was about 2 coats of the self-etching primer. Then I did one whole can, which was right at exactly 2 coats of filler primer. Then I used about 1.5 cans of some Rust-Oleum semi-gloss black right here, and that gave me 2 full coats. Now, when I say 2 full coats, I don't count the skim coat that I do, just the light where I'm not really trying to get any real coverage. I'm just kind of, I don't really count that as a coat. So when I say 2 coats, I mean my first coat is once I'm at full coverage, and then a second coat. So just in case anybody was wondering the way I do things. All right, anyway, so here's what we got going on. I'm using the Rust-Oleum, the 2X. Okay, now there's that product. It's that 2K. It's got a catalyst that you activate on the bottom. It's a hardener, and it works a lot better than this. But this is going to be inside the car. So I'm not really worried about spending, 2 children on 1 can of their 2K, because that stuff is outrageously expensive for no good reason. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start clearing this. And I want to let you know, if you like my channel, do me a favor. Woohoo! Happened again. All right. We're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. I'm not going to edit that out because I'm lazy. So if you like my channel, do me a favor. I got a buddy, I've mentioned him before. He's got a channel. His name is Just Mopar Joe. All one word. The guy, he's super cool, nice guy, and he's working on some really cool stuff. So if you're a fan of Mopars, or if you're just a fan of somebody wrenching in general, he's got some how-tos. He's worked on an old pony car. He's got a nice Challenger. He's got all kinds of stuff that he's working on. So do yourself a favor, give him a check out, and let him know that here's what I need to do. I need to put like a rock or something. I apologize. Not really. I really don't. I should do. I probably should, but I won't, because it's not my fault. It's the dang wind. All right, so anyways, I'm gonna do this, and yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Oh man, I got like a little spider web thing back there for some reason. Whatever. Now, somebody might be wondering, I thought that you were like restoring this, and originally that was my intention, but a lot of this stuff is just a little bit too far gone. So I think what I should call this is like rejuvenation slash we're just gonna hot rod it out at this point. But since you spend the majority of the time in your car looking at your dash, I still wanted to make it look nice. So it's not perfect, but it is just a ton better than what it looked like when we started, if you remember. Man, best thing about painting outside is you get little things that drop, and they add character to your dash, you know? Whatever. Also, I would be wearing a mask right now, but somebody bought them all because of the corona. So I have no PPE. But that's okay, because you don't see damage to your lungs, so we're just going to pretend like it's not happening. But in all seriousness, one benefit to painting outside, especially when you're painting on black, is that the clear, you can actually see where it's going down so nicely. So like, you know, when you got full coverage. But that's probably, there we go. That is probably the only benefit. And I'm not even so sure I would call that a benefit. All right, that's good enough. Looks great. Let's go put in some trans fluid. All right, man, I look like crap. Oh my God, whatever. Anyways, transmission. I'm about to talk about the transmission, which is over there. Driveshaft. Driveshaft is completely dried up, as you can see. I did 2 coats of paint on it. Didn't really have to, but I just figured, you know, might as well make everything look nice while I can. But here's what we got going on. So here's my new transmission fluid dipstick, right, that I put in because it's nice. It's like braided, it's shiny, and shiny makes you go faster. But the issue that I have currently is that I was only able to add 2 quarts, not even 2 quarts of transmission fluid to the trans. And if you remember, I dropped the transmission pan and put a new gasket in and put a new filter in. I also added 2 quarts of trans fluid to my torque converter, and I'm just using, it's in the car, but I'm using the STP, the ATF4, right? So at any rate, I have to figure out why I'm not able to add transmission fluid to my trans, because that's a problem. Also, I put the selector switch arm, gear switch on the trans in every single position, front to rear, and I was able to get underneath the car and turn the yoke. So I don't understand that, because at minimum, once you get to P for park, you shouldn't be able to turn the yoke, right? Yet I am. So I got to figure out what's going on and why I can't add any trans fluid, because I was adding it with the dipstick tube out with my long funnel, and once I got 1.5 quarts in, it was just gurgling up, and like it wasn't even like settling down a little bit, and then you add some and then it settles down. Like it was just no go. So I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm gonna see if I can't figure it out though. But at any rate, I feel like I got a lot done. You know, I got the drive shaft cleaned up and painted. I got the dash, you know, primered and painted and clear coated, and I got the front brakes on. I got, you know, what transmission fluid that I could get in, and yeah. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Next episode is going to be the rear brakes for sure, and then maybe we'll get the front tires on. I don't know. I wanted to get the car sitting on the ground, or on the tires, I should say, but you know, I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure it out. I know I still got to get the steering wheel redone, right? Have to get the steering wheel redone so that I can put that in when I put the dash in, because I ordered a brand new wiring harness from Classic Industries. So once that comes in, we can put the engine in, and we should be starting it up. So I'm just trying to get anything and everything that I can done before then. But yeah, so this is getting a little bit long, whatever. Here's where we're at. Like usual, you know, I really can't stress enough how much I appreciate all of you watching. I hope you have a great week, and tune in next week, because you know, as much work as we got done this week, I'm going to crush it next episode and get even more done. So the engine's going to be in and running soon, I promise. See you in a bit.